Hello there.
CatBus Russ here, and I'm just letting you know that the Poetic Critic and I are going to be at Quad Cities Comic-Con this weekend, May 23rd and 24th, at the Bend Expo in East Moline, Illinois. Whenever I'm at a Comic-Con, it requires a little more energy than I'm used to, just the running around and the 3 panels that I'll be presenting. What helps me get through that is Dubby Jitterless Energy Blend. I'll be carrying around the Retro Sherbet and Sweet and Sour Blue Raz flavors. Dubby is an energy drink powder with all of the vitamins and caffeine that you'll get in an energy shot, but without that battery acid taste. If you order from Dubby.gg, you will be saving half the price of what you spend on a regular 9-to-5 energy drink habit. And until Monday, May 25th, you get 20% off if you use promo code CatBusRuss at checkout.
Are you gonna bark all day, little doggy? Or are you gonna bite?
This podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man.
Boy! Hey, let's talk about you, the ID10T community events at ID10T.com, like Russ Stevens, a.k.a.
CatBus Russ,
who has started a podcast called 90 for Chill, which Russ says is dedicated to movies with a runtime between 74 and 99 minutes, the time frame that I feel is ideal. Russ, I could not agree with you more. That is a fantastic idea. Russ goes on to say there are times you need a cinematic fix but don't have time for the latest Scorsese masterpiece or offering from a comic book universe. There's also times when you know you need a conclusion to prevent a binge costing you a whole night. My guests and I try to follow these guidelines as we chat up features that are definitely worth your time and are beyond easy to make time for. 90 for Chill, the podcast, can be found on all major podcast platforms at 90forchill.com, and that's spelling out 90, Ninety, 4 FOR, chill. So there you go. Thank you so much for sharing, Russ. Really great idea for a podcast. Events at ID10T.com for everyone else.
Sometimes we choose our path. Other times, the path chooses us. Through it all, we keep pushing forward, driven by a deeper purpose, guided by an unseen force. The journey never gets any easier. The bond just gets harder to break. This is the way.
Only in theaters and IMAX May 22nd.
Well, it's been a busy day for me. Worked my shift, then I went and saw The Mandalorian and Grogu, the 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time premiere, which just seems weird, because where's the pomp and circumstance at 2 p.m.? What did I think of the movie? Well, I had the popcorn bucket. So I had fun, let's just put it that way. This is the story of The Mandalorian and Grogu, basically being, working directly for the New Republic. Now, they say he's freelancing, and he can get into some messy stuff, but he's on a mission to find a ace of spades in the deck of Imperial war criminals that they're trying to locate. So again, pulling into the modern warfare situations to capture this, to get a lead on this general or commander, I believe in this case. They have to cut a deal with the Hutt twins, the brother and sister of Jabba the Hutt. They want Mando to go and bring back Little Stinky, I believe, if you're a Clone Wars fan. He goes by Rada now, and it turns out that this might just be a power play by the Hutts to secure the Empire, since they might be able to just get rid of the only living heir, a Hutt who's got a six-pack, pit fighter, essentially. And there's a great fan service fight between Mando and the Hutt, and it ends up being ode to the chessboard on the Millennium Falcon. So Mando figures this out, tries to do the right thing, and the Hutts want vengeance. And that's our story. Grogu gets a lot to do. It's most he's gotten to do in any of the Mandalorian adventures. The effects are pretty solid. I will say, though, I think this might look better. Well, I did not pay for the real D, okay? or the 3D. So maybe it will look better in those conditions. I'm probably going to see it next week with a friend of mine, but I'm not a fan of digital, okay? Let's get back to film. You can say, well, film wears out, but digital just doesn't look as crisp. It doesn't look as artistic. My opinion, I think with 35 or 70 millimeter, that a crisp print of that, more light having to be pushed through it, I think would be a better experience. Just an opinion. I mean, we don't just go and say, screw all the paintings in the Louvre, we'll just make them digital. That's my stance on that. The story does run a little long, I think, because essentially you have Act 1, establish the mission, 2, complete the mission, 3, the double cross, and then basically another act on top of that. It probably could have been a season, a little mini season, I suppose, on Disney Plus, but I want my Star Wars in the theater, so I'm very appreciative of that. The acting is pretty solid. We do get some unmasked Pedro Pascal for all those thirsty for their daddy types, but otherwise I think some might be disappointed with the lack of genuine characters who move, like the bounty hunter that works for the Hutts to capture Mando. You can't really tell if he's a droid or not. It's a cool idea, very much samurai-esque. So it really does feel a lot more like the Lone Wolf and Cub vibe that the series was trying to capture in the early seasons. I can't help but appreciate that. And it's great that, well, it's not great that we don't have Giancarlo Esposito, but I mean, for the story-wise, it's great to not have to depend on past actors who've completed their arcs in the story. I'm very glad that we don't see a Gina Carano cameo or anything like that. I could have gone for some Horatio Sands, though. Yeah, but otherwise, it looks like the only humanoids are your X-Wing pilots who make cameos during the Mandalorian season, and Sigourney Weaver, and Sigourney Weaver's good. This is the first time, though, I really think she's looking her age, so it's a credit to her. She's my dad's age. I would say the only time I really got turned, like, oh no, Sigourney Weaver is old, is when Mom took me to see You Again with Kristen Bell, and there's a scene where she gets into a fight with Jamie Lee Curtis that goes into a pool, and you see the aftermath, their makeup running, and like, oh no, you just took away the hot chicks that I grew up on in the 80s. But I think it was a fun experience, and I'm a sucker for the Star Wars universe. Like, when we get our grand finale, yeah, it was kind of like everything's coming together. I'm tearing up a little bit, just like at the end of Rise of Skywalker, and Lord knows that is not as good as The Mandalorian and Grogu. This has a solid story, which is the best thing about it. It just runs it along. But I don't know. It's one, I don't do the Disney accounting, and a piece of me kind of thinks maybe we should just go back to TV budgets for TV. If the story is solid enough, and this coming from a B movie fan, I could, as long as the effects look good, they don't have to be movie quality. I'll settle on Roger Corman practical effects, I suppose. If you love Star Wars, you're definitely gonna have a fun with Mandalorian Grogu, and if you're walking into it, I think it's a pretty simple premise if you're not a fan of the franchise. And hey, it even's got some Rebels love in it, so everybody should be covered going into this. It's not, it's not Rogue One, it's not The Last Jedi. It's a nice way to get the ball rolling again. And I'll take a solid, good picture. Hopefully in 2 years, 3 years, at the most, we'll get another Star Wars movie.
We'll be right back. Obey the law.
You do not have to be like me, because I know that everybody's social media feed is bombarded with ads for the new guilt-free snack. But you're scrolling on social media, so you're curious about a lot of things. And fortunately for me, I have a pretty high batting average when it comes to trying stuff from online sources. One of those hits was Deutsch Snacking Dough. It's cookie dough. You can eat raw, you can bake into cookies in under 10 minutes, and it just fills you up in a few scoops. I like to eat a pound, maybe 2 pounds of chicken wing in a sitting, and still there's the urge to go for that third pound. But with Deutsch Snacking Dough, you take a couple scoops, and it just settles me down, and I feel full. Free of the top 8 allergens, They're gluten-free, low sugar, and have 3 times the protein of any other dough out there. And it's plant-based. And as I say, I can eat 3 pounds of wings in a sitting if I feel like it. I am a carnivore. Needless to say, I was skeptical about plant-based snacking dough, but my skepticism was proven wrong. So if you go down to the link in the description of this podcast, it will take you to my portal and you will get 20% off of your order. So find your new snack today, Deutsch Snacking Dough.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll.
Bring the noise.
And we are settled into a Hilton Spark in Bettendorf, Iowa. A land where all those restaurants you hear have died seem to be survived. Yes, we ate at Red Lobster, something we can't get in Peoria anymore. And then the bitterness of, let's go to the mall. And then there's another Hooters. I will give the VXV group credit. They know where to pick the cities for the cons. And this is the first Quad Cities Comic Con. I am CatBus Russ. This is I Did Crazy Flicks. And we're just chilling out. Pretty relaxed day, all things considered. Wouldn't you say, the Poetic Critic?
I think so.
Yep, so as we said, as I said, this is the first Quad Cities Comic Con. So we had a good crowd for, I'd say, both our panels.
Yeah, given that the room could hold only like 24 people.
Yeah, that was weird. I'm used to, good.
It was small.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well, it's the first time they're laying this all out. And fortunately, unlike Springfield, Missouri Comic Con in Springfield, it was all done in one building. So you can't complain too much. And I don't know. I swear Mick Foley was supposed to be doing a noon panel, so I couldn't make it. But no, lo and behold, maybe the AEW signing cleared things up, and hopefully he got his 4 o'clock plane. I'm kind of surprised. Mick Foley is known for being a very frugal person. I figured he'd just be driving 2 hours to O'Hare and get to Long Island that way. So I know for you, the Poetic Critic, have you pretty much, when you see a con like C2E2 or Fan Expo Chicago, are you really about the guest anymore?
Well, I've met a lot of guests that I wanted to meet at previous cons. It's not cheap to get autographs or photographs, so I've always been kind of choosy that way. So, like last time I got Gina Davis's autograph, and she was really nice when we were at C2E2 back in March. But otherwise, I can't think of a lot of names on my bucket list at the moment. And that's fine. I enjoy looking around the vendor tables and artist alley and doing the more, I guess you'd say, esoteric panels or other activities, especially with Fan Expo. They do all sorts of other activities like escape rooms or maid cafes.
Cosplay meetups.
Yeah, cosplay meetups, of course.
Yeah, and they have a cosplay meetup area, so if you're in the Quad Cities, come to the Bend Expo. You can go to go share your photos at the cosplay area, and then head to our panel, the 1985 action movie triple threat match. We were kind of blessed, I'd say, with our panels, at least the first one, 90 for Chill, because the chaperones of and I'm going to look up that community college. Come on, dang it. Okay, there we go. Community College, Cedar Rapids. So it's cool that Kirkwood Community College in Cedar Rapids. So they brought a group of their anime club there, and one of those they're at least offering food, so I don't think it was too much of a lecture.
Right.
So yeah.
I did over dinner. I did talk to the Poetic about how anime is so dominant now.
Yeah, anime and gaming.
And gaming, yes. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a old man shouting at clouds with, a bumblebee on my quarters, as was the way of the times. I get it was fun. I think it was fun trying to get a little bit of get rise out of you young punks. But no, we sampled a bunch of W Energy. I got those college kids to do it. So we're all depending on how extreme you want your kids to be. And then we ended up checking out doing the 1986 Rad Movies and Bad Movies, and I think this is a pretty good approach compared to the previous two. My TED Talk last time at Springfield, and having Andrew TD on for the really raucous, honestly, crowd at UICon. I don't know how that one blew up, because especially that, as I said about UICon, that is anime and Comic-Con. They should all caps the anime. But like in Springfield, I can't say it was a big cosplay crowd, all things considered.
No, these smaller cons, especially new ones, rarely are.
Well, I will say that Sunday seemed to pick up when I was at the Missouri Comic-Con. Mm-hmm. But again, they had has-been voice actors.
Yeah, Has-Been Hotel.
Yes, so I think we might see. I don't know. I didn't check to see. I think they already did unless Diedrich Barber was doing his own panel and not a reunion panel with the rest of the Napoleon Dynamite stars. Yep, just checking my schedule. And I swear, and I did reach out to Mick, like, could you stop by at least? Mick was very cool, and he did play you shouldn't be, don't record this, that means I gotta go and give the boring answers to a guy in the front row with a camera out. Granted, I'm not denying I had my camera, had my phone with the recorder on. So yeah. So we're going to be in Panel Room 2 on tomorrow, Sunday, the 1:30 panel, so we can actually chill out for a while. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, and it'd be interesting. There's actually... honestly, it's kind of weird, like Panel Room 1... So it's gonna might be big, heavy cosplay wise, because it's got the armored cosplay and the spandex doesn't scare me cosplay panels in Panel Room 1 that was usually reserved for guests, like in this case 4 p.m. was the Napoleon Dynamite get-together reunion, so yeah, it's gonna be kind of like tomorrow, it looks like. Main stage. There's going to be a lot of people dressed as the Good Burger. With Kel Mitchell.
Yeah.
Like, I love Keenan. I don't... Did you ever really understand the appeal of the Good Burger?
No, but I was probably just a little too old for it.
Yeah, I know, but doesn't that really kind of like, there was a wrestling. Went to a UWC wrestling show at the Homer Opera House in Homer, Illinois. Mm-hmm. And there was a wrestler who pretty much based his entire wrestling gimmick on Kel from the Good Burger. Uh-huh. I would not want to wrestle in that ring afterwards because it had lots of orange soda. So yeah, it's but yeah, we had great. So it was interesting today, I'd say, because our panel, we were basically alternating with the Leather Peacock and they brought it to our attention. There weren't tables in the room when we got there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they oh no, we're doing leatherworking. We're involving the audience. Maybe I should have asked, or maybe I should have stuck my head in after Mick Foley to see how they were doing. But they were very cool. There was cosplay involved, as you noted. The Linda Belcher. And then you serenaded me from YouTube with the fight song episode of Bob Burger about the Whalers.
Yeah.
So that was a fun. So it was fun. But as we stated, it's the first Quad Cities Comic Con. It's Memorial Day weekend, and we did talking to the those fellow panelists. They were saying, a lot of cons happen over holiday weekends.
Yeah, Chicago TARDIS takes place over Thanksgiving weekend up in Lombard,
and I think Labor Day is Dragon Con. And I just basically said to the Leather Peacock crew, I think it's because nerds don't want to get stuck in a backyard having to fake it in front of a grill.
That doesn't apply to everybody.
Well, I mean...
It doesn't.
Well, they kind of agreed with that statement. I will say that. Like, how many... Like, we're kind of sheltered kids. We only had the redneck uncle for like a brief period in our life. Cool enough guy in my opinion, but yeah, we'll leave it there. So yeah, that's but there weren't a lot of vendors, and there wasn't really an artist alley at this con.
No, nothing was marked off like that.
Right. They had a lot of space, too.
Yeah, it was pretty well laid out.
Yeah. And then I checked out the celebrity area. And there's that one Scooby-Doo voice actor who just has to set up an entire shop. He was at Springfield Comic-Con. But
I think I've seen him at Peoria Con, too.
Okay, yeah. So, big things they're advertising next. There is a Nerdfest in, I think a Nerdfest coming to the Quad Cities in the fall, and then Illinois Comic Con, which is going to take place in Peoria.
Yeah.
So, that's going to be pretty much a layup, must sign up for. It's the weekend before TARDIS. And we could probably get that one easy. Did we walk away from the vendors completely unscathed? Well, I got my cat sitter some cat-related badges, and one with the little otter saying "Otter nonsense," and Jurassic and a Velociraptor, clever girl. You were tempted by a big old Psyduck.
Yes.
And I guess that will hit our anime portion of this podcast. Hashtag ANI-MAY. You introduced me, I was aware of it, and I was told it was kind of dark, to Netflix's Pokemon Concierge.
Yeah.
And I could see it kind of being a little dark in the fact that this is... I think might be more of a Japanese thing about how we're not supposed to relax.
Yeah, it's a story about overcoming anxiety and overcoming hustle culture, work culture.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Japanese media that deals with people learning to loosen up in that way.
Well, I own the box set. I was watching it one disc at a time, like you should with anime. Earn it, kids. The Welcome to the NHK. The Nippon Hikikomori Committee. Conspiracy to lock us all into sheltered lives. Which is really present now after the lockdown and such. Mm-hmm. Like, I heard it wasn't really a problem stateside, but after the lockdown, people just wanted to stay locked down. I think just the awkwardness of the awkward people just were forced to not, to try faking it for a while, I guess. I do like the classic peanut shirt you're wearing right now.
Thank you.
Like it doesn't have that refined. Like it looks like a 1950 cartoon compared to how it got more refined by.
No, it is fairly refined.
Well, I remember I always think of the first Charlie Brown cartoon. Mm-hmm. That's Charlie Brown. I hate him. Which is really weird when you have a strip about, family values and strong Christian overtones. So yeah, but so the avatar for our main character, essentially
in Pokemon Concierge, she ends up with a sort of familiar in the form of a little yellow Psyduck.
I don't know if I've seen any other color of Psyduck.
Don't they have a shiny Psyduck in the game?
I've been playing a lot of Pokemon collector card game on my phone, and it's a there's got to be shiny ones. I don't know what his color is. I don't know if they're gonna. You've watched probably more Pokemon Concierge. Are they addressing shiny Pokemon yet?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. I was just kind of disappointed because this is a Japanese stop motion show.
Yeah.
And I was kind of thrown off when you actually have proper lip movements. Like, can we qualify this for anime if they... Because it's a classic anime trope. The mouth opens, you don't really see a tongue, it just opens, close, opens, no movement in the mouth. Mm-hmm. I was just kind of disappointed, like, we didn't take the time to redub the Pokemon properly. Like, where's Bulbasaur's balls? Bulb. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, you're Bola. Like, but no, it's a cute show, and I don't know, maybe more people should watch it just to... It's a weird time, because we're Gen Xers, and I moved away from Peoria essentially because I didn't have any friends who weren't married or not hustling for a dream like I was doing with pro wrestling and my screenwriting. Like, oh no, settle down, have kids. So there's a reason why I have a tattoo of the train spotting quote. And the reasons, there are no reasons, with a beckoning cat with a match in one hand and cradling a bomb instead of a coin. So it's just kind of like, we really got to get through this entire Trump era and get through the, hope the Republicans are stupid enough not to have two more retirees so they can stack the court further. They are holding out for the elections on that one, so more trouble to come. We got a lot to repair. Like, how did the boomers do that? Like, their parents went and killed Nazis. And, granted, they killed Nazis for American pride. I don't think they were really big on, you ask your parents about, what was grandma like when, we don't talk about Bruno. We're doing the 1985 action movie triple threat match tomorrow. Another positive review from Allie Higgins of Allie's Accessory Shop on Etsy in regards to The Mandalorian and Grogu. She thought the forest elements were beautiful and was a little more forgiving about the fact that it's more cartoon than man. So I'm just going to pull up that time for our panel tomorrow if you happen to be in the the Quad Cities. So that's going to be 1:30. And Panel Room 2, Bend Expo. And, yep, I don't... Kind of brain farting. I thought I had something more. So I guess because I'm going to attach the Grogu and the Mandalorian review before this, I haven't heard too much negative stuff about Grogu and Mando, or just Jiminy Glick talking to Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, someone joking online.
Yes.
Imagining that kind of an interview.
Right. I know people are worried about Rhoda and his steroid uses. Rada, I'm sorry. And, yeah, so we're just gonna chill out for the rest of the night. We can just chill out until checkout, in all honesty.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which is but I think there's gonna be, maybe the cosplay will pick up because if you have other weekend pass people, and sometimes people come to one day just to show off their best.
Yeah.
So, as I say, at least in Springfield, it was bigger that way. Otherwise, I'm just waiting on seeing if there's any chance I can get on some panels in Indiana Comic Convention. I'll probably head there anyhow. I mean, hell, I got the buttons made. And still, if anybody's got some suggestions out there of better promotional people, then Sticker Mule, please let me know. I stuck out with them until they refused to apologize. Yeah, it ended up resulting in a refund. I know I was discussing it back on during Springfield. So that's I think sums up this little bonus. We got our anime fix. Well, I guess that's a thought on my mind. You're saying anime and video game culture are the big things now.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to hold up when the next PlayStation will be $1,000?
Every industry is undergoing some kind of crisis at this point. Video games especially.
Yeah, I mean...
I'm not just talking about video gaming when I say that. We've seen this resurgence in tabletop gaming, which is really evident in some of the vendors we've had here.
Oh yeah, that much is true. Jess McCord, one of the co-creators of Skies of Fortune, will be at Gen Con to promote his TCG. That's good. But as for video games, though, I was watching a What Culture, because Microsoft has changed the Xbox leader.
Uh-huh.
And we're going back to what got us there. We're going to find our way to make exclusive games. Not just make software and get whatever money we can get.
Right.
And that's where they were talking about right now, it seems like 50% only. I mean, the large portion, if you own a PlayStation 5, even before the hike from $500 to $700, most of those were owned by people making over $50K, households making over $50K a year, probably close to $100K.
Right, I see.
And then you think about all this mobile gaming.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of worried about, because I know so many people love the modern video games, and I think I've just caught on. I want to play a game. I don't want if you want to make Red Dead Redemption a movie, just make it a movie. It's like The Last of Us. You can't make... I hear the first season was entirely accurate to the video game. So why am I playing the video game? And I worry now with... Because you're not... I mean, until I would say phones start holding 2 terabytes of memory, I don't see... I fear that it's going almost backwards in a sense, because you can't go and put huge cutscenes on a phone. If you could, then Quibi was just $1 billion too early. So that's my concern about the video gaming thing. Never mind the fact you're playing Final Fantasy on your phone.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking classic sprites, not this polygon bollocks. Like, I think the Switch 2 might end up being the only thing that lasts. Because the only other reason to, especially with video games now, like 4K is going to crash. At least, this could be the end of physical media, at least visual media. Because a reason to buy a PlayStation 4 or 5 back in the day was because it had a 4K, the PlayStation Pro 4 had 4K players. And now it's like, the PlayStation 5 Pro is probably close to $800 now, maybe $9. It doesn't even come with a disc drive. So we're going to an all-digital market, and that's kind of scary. And I think we're going to go backwards. People aren't going to be spending, like, Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be the last big video game, I fear. Because nobody's going, like, well, we don't need writers. We're going back to E.T. We'll give the game to one person, program it, so you can put it on your iPhone. That's what I kind of fear. And yes, I do play. The only game I play right now is Pokemon collectible card game. And that's just basically because I don't want to be one of those douchebags, like, scalpers waiting at 6:30 in the morning at a Best Buy. Do you have the Pokemon cards? And, okay, yes, I did wait at a Toys R Us at 6:30 to get my Nintendo Switch back in 2017. But if it wasn't released during tax season, I wouldn't have probably bought it. And I still had money back to go and take Allie to Vegas. Thanks, Donald Trump. So, I guess that's something like, I wonder who we would ask at. I don't see anybody at this con going to be able to provide us answers. Because, honestly, it's very thin on voice actors, and they usually go everywhere. But, yeah, so that's all my thoughts about Quad Cities Comic-Con Day 1. Really, I think we're probably just going to hit our panel and go then.
Yeah, that might be what we'll do.
Okay, so we might not have a second bonus episode. I'm really going to have to figure out what to do for the weekly episode. But we will burn that bridge after we cross it. So, thanks for checking out the podcast. You can find The Poetic Critic on Letterboxd at ThePoeticCritic, all one word, no underscores, no hyphens. I am also on Letterboxd at CatBus Russ. That's pretty much my social media handle. Blue Sky. I post on Instagram and Threads, but that's usually just once a week. So maybe that's where you want to follow me instead of my constant post storms. Daily post storms. But there's so many places you can listen to podcasts. I gotta give you all the options, right? The best way to help my podcast out, rate and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Be as honest as you like in the comments. We are pro passive aggressiveness at I Did Crazy Flicks. You can join the I Did Crazy Flicks Patreon. That's patreon.com/IDidCrazyFlicks. Right now we're looking for $3 a month, and don't think about the podcast necessarily. Think about Ava the Queen Kitty, because she got a taste of Fancy Feast this week. I think she wants it back. But with that $3, you get yourself ad-free podcasts. You get yourself a waterproof sticker or a fridge magnet. And you get access to the original 90forchill.com, the podcast feed. So you can see if I've evolved as a podcaster. But you know what? My favorite Pokemon is Bulbasaur. Why evolve? No, we're going to try to evolve. And you also get a shout out as long as you subscribe. So thank you, Dad, for all your help and support. Thank you, The Scoop Staley. I will get around to watching that AEW Collision episode where you're sitting behind Tony and Nigel. And thank you, Tim Bates. You can find him on episodes about the horror comedy classic Night of the Demons and the 1989 Charles Band's Bloodsport in Space Arena. And the best way I think to help podcasts out, though, is to come on and be a guest. Offer me a movie, a director, an actor, a theme. As long as the content is out of touch with the current reality, I think we can fry up a slice of gold. But if you got something a little more down to earth, and I think I finally nailed it today with, well, if you're thinking Richard Linklater, give me one of the before movies. I am not going to give you Boyhood. And yeah, I'll give you at least 40 minutes to zoom on that. Send an email to russthebus07@gmail.com. That's RUSSTHEBUS07@gmail.com. And otherwise, you can find me on my social media again, at CatBus Russ. Let me thank Stationary Harden for being my inspiration, keeping me out of too much trouble, and I hope she's doing the same for everybody else she touched in her life. And I hope she's squeezing Skimble Shanks a lot. Get a little ectoplasm out of him, but he's a talker. He thinks he's people. Treat him like people, Station. Thanks again to the Poetic Critic for accompanying me here. And she got herself some Red Lobster, so it must have been good, according to Beyonce rules. And now that really did end up just coming out creepy. We had a good time. And we'll probably be back up here next year if we do well enough. I think we can go and take credit if Quad Cities Cons returns. What do you think?
I don't know.
The TPC CBS show. Alright, thank you. And we will talk to you later. Thanks for checking out I Did Crazy Flicks.
Can I hear a wahoo?
This podcast was made possible by the love and support of Dave and Cindy Stevens, Rory Stevens and Allison Higgins, Danny Daniels, and Stephanie Smith.
Long live Flash! You've saved your Earth. Have a nice day.